Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and welcome to the new card report. Age of Overlord is just over a week away, and with it will be the last of the Tistina cards. Yes, the TCG exclusive archetype that's one wave away from maybe being really good this time, copium. You know, just like the last 12 exclusive to the TCG region debut area cards. You think Tistina will break the trend? Based on the lack I've heard of anyone talking about them, probably not. Also, spoiler alert, no. Fallen of the Tistina is a level 1 water aqua with 200 attack and 0 defense that looks just a little bit goofy. Just waving at you a little bit, you know, just you know, doing one of those. That's because it's fucking leaving either your hand or your field, because this can be sent from the hand or field to place a copy of the Tistina field spell from your deck onto your field. And if a Tistina spell or trap you control would be destroyed by the opponent's card effect while this is in your grave, you can banish it to special summon one light Tistina monster from either your hand, deck, or graveyard. I mean, that one's solid enough, right? It gets you the field spell, which is itself a foolish burial and maybe access to the god, or can possibly even get out god itself if the opponent were to destroy one of your spell and trap. Which of course sucks, because you're now waiting for the opponent to let you try and make your plays, but it's not terrible, since to find god it only needs to be in the graveyard and then have something be destroyed, and it puts itself in the graveyard to get you your field spell. So there are worse things, I suppose. Not a bad start to the support, really. A polite one, because it waves. See ya. Return of the Tistina is in Fire Aqua level 2 with 500 attack and defense. That's if in your hand will let you target a Tistina monster you control except for a copy of itself, and then summon it from your hand, but its level will become the same as the targeted monster's level. So it quick manips to become an Xyz fodder. And if you don't think this is Xyz focused, wait until you hear the next effect, because if it's in your grave, you can target an aqua Xyz monster you control and then attach this to it as a material. That's not really terrible either, right? If only because it will set up an easy Xyz play and will let you keep making plays with that Xyz if you just keep detaching this and then recycling it. It has to be a aqua Xyz to be specific, but there's plenty of good ones this deck can use, right? No? I guess this can help force Toad, kind of, maybe. Copium. You know what it can do? It can get you a second material on the effect of an honor arc that you already used, and then it's got 2 materials to use its effect again. Except I believe there's a once per turn on honor arc, so no, I don't even think that works. But you know what? You know it does work. Moving on to the next card. This one is actually solid. It's not great and not terrible. Tainted of the Tistina is a new level 5 that will of course always be summoned with this played in the background and never anything else. A 2000 attack, 0 defense dark aqua monster. It being a level 5 would absolutely suck, except for the fact that you contribute an opponent's monster to summon this card. And it will become level 10 on normal summon, because we need to overlay God to make plays in this deck, I presume. This also has the effect that if it's sent from anywhere but the field to your graveyard, it will target a Tistina monster you control and let it attack twice in each battle phase, but also you can only attack with 1 monster. So there you go, pseudo kaiju an opponent's monster, make this level 10, use the level 2's effect to summon itself, and bada bing bada boom, instant rank 10 plays. Then you can, instead of making whatever the next card's going to be, make Gustav Max and go for the ultimate cowboy for gameplay, which is a timeless one. Really though, it's an in-theme kaiju, and that's never a bad thing. So let's at long last look at the Xyz that they've clearly been hyping up to. Tistina, the divinity that defies darkness, is shockingly a light monster. An aqua rank 10 monster with 2000 attack and 3000 defense, because this deck cannot be allowed to beat a single copy of Cyber Dragon in battle, apparently. It's a generic 10, needing only 2 level 10s to summon, and if it's special summoned, it can send all face down cards the opponent controls to the graveyard. Just boom, on summon, no materials needed. The next effect does require a material, however, and in fact it requires Crystal God Tistina specifically as material. Then you can detach a material that hopefully isn't God, I guess, to let this card gain 2000 attack until the end of the opponent's turn. Wow, what a crazy effect. And lastly, if it's destroyed by an opponent's card, while it has a material, it can then summon any Tistina monster from the graveyard. So that's just underwhelming as shit, right? On summon, it's a solid effect, but it's an effect that the deck already is trying to do, and you know, probably easier than getting the rank 10 on the field, getting God and Demigod back and forth. So the only real effect that needs God as a material is the one lone effect to be able to beat Cyber Dragon in battle finally. That's the struggle. Wouldn't you rather keep God on your field instead of forcing a way to overlay into this using God? Because the easy play I mentioned earlier of Tribute 5 2 effect special overlay doesn't get to be strong. Can't have a strong, can't have 3,000 attack. That'd make too much sense. Then to be able to beat Cyber Dragon, you need God to beat Cyber Dragon. That's what the designers of this fucking deck have decided, huh? God. Seems like it'll be better as an on-summon wipe than anything else. But again, if you can get God and Demigod on the board, you already have access to that. So I don't know. Seems mid as shit, but it does have a dope as fuck name. So that's the one saving grace, is the name is cool. So DDD enthusiasts who are now playing Tistina, I guess, are the real fucking winners here, and everyone else can suck it. Moving on to the spell and trap that the level 1 desperately wants dead, we start with Play of the Tistina. Fantastic name for a card. This quick play spell can summon a Tistina monster from the hand or graveyard in defense position, but that monster will be returned to the hand at the end phase. The hard once per turn also exists on it, but why does it bounce? This and the field spell meant that you can really summon God with the greatest of ease. You open the field spell or the one to get the field spell, dump God, use this, revive God, boom. It's that easy. The play, literally the play of the Tistina, and figuratively. And instead they said, no, fuck you. You don't get to have God on your field. Overlay with it. Make the Xyz. I mean, it's still really solid, but just it's a weird, like, why? Why not let the players have God? It's a question we've been asking for years, isn't it? Great name, though. I do love it. They also got Embrace of the Tistina instead of just Embrace Tistina, because no one will. Just sorry to all 12 of you out there playing it. This new continuous trap can Book of Moon an opponent's monster when that monster activates its effect. Whoa, Konami, don't give them too many good cards here. It can also take an opponent's monster that's in face-down defense position during the end phase, which is neat and plays well with the Book of Moon effect it initially has. What makes this card lame as shit is two things. Firstly, you need to control a Tistina with 3,000 defense to use either of these effects, which is a limit on the use of Book of Moon, to be clear, and also that taking a set monster effect that sounds really cool, it only happens in the end phase, and if this deck is doing what it wants to, doesn't it send all the set cards from the field to the grave so they don't have any left? Isn't that the plan? Apparently not. Apparently it's let them have the set cards and then yoink them? Like, I get it, it's cool. I can expect that decks will play through the disruptions Tistina puts up, so it's fully reasonable that they might have a set card at the end. I'm just saying, I don't think it needed to be this restrictive to use, especially when half of it is literally just Book of Moon. But what do I know? It's wave 2 of a TCG exclusive deck. It's not here to be good, is it? Bazinga, fucking TCG bad. Everyone fucking clap onto the last card. Kill me. Discordance of the Tistina isn't a flower, but I see one in the artwork anyways, and that's about as relevant as this card is, isn't it? Now, this normal trap card is one that uses one of two effects on activation. The first will require you to control a Tistina monster, and will allow you to banish a card from the opponent's graveyard face down, in a pseudo but worse Called by the Grave. Or DD Crow, I guess is more accurate. It's a slightly worse DD Crow with a mild Kashtira polish, because it banishes face down. The second effect will require you to control a Tistina Xyz, or I guess a Tistina summoned from the extra deck, but at current that's only the Xyz, and will banish all cards from the opponent's graveyard face down. It does also have the effect Engrave to banish itself, and then return a Tistina monster from your grave to your hand. Whichever of these effects you're activating, however, you only get one per turn. So it's crazy good if you make the Xyz to the point where it validates making the Xyz. Although, I guess you'd be doing it first, where its board wipe effect wouldn't happen because you're going first. But hey, it can validate having the Xyz with or without God as material, although you'll still lose to Cyber Dragon in battle. It also can recover the level 5, or Demigod, I suppose, because those are about the only 2 monsters I want out of the graveyard. The first 2 revive themselves, and then the new ones have effects in the grave, other than the 5 and Demigod, but I don't know. It's decent. It's good if you have the Xyz, and other than that, you could play it, but you could also not. All in all, it seems like it's a mostly going second OTK deck now, question mark. Between the 2 of his support, I think the main thing they want you to be doing, or the simplest thing they want you doing, is to get the Xyz, use God to make it, pump its attack up to 4,000, and then if you can summon Hound from wave 1, that can make that 4K monster attack directly, and if you've got the level 5 in the grave, you can target the Xyz, and the Xyz can attack twice. So you're punching for 4K directly twice for game. That's what you're doing. You're making a rank 10 and you're going for an OTK. Almost like the deck could be used to make a rank 10 and go for game by making Leap without jumping through 98 hoops to do so. What do I know? I don't know why they felt the need to give a rank 10 deck an OTK line, because Leaves kind of just does it better. But hey, maybe you want a more rock-themed deck to summon Leave. You do you. Beyond that, little weird things like the end phase Snatch Steal, but only if you didn't get the board wipe that you're trying to make every single turn, or like the Reborn bouncing for no real purpose other than to force you to Xyz because you can't have God, make for an underwhelming deck, I guess I'll say. It looks neat, but there's not a lot special going on here, which is a fucking tragedy, because this is the only deck in the game as of now that will let you summon God. You can tribute summon God, you can overlay God, you can swing for game with God, and you can scoop for game 2 because you're playing God, and what is God when compared to Tearlament's Milling 12? It's a damn shame is what it is, because someone's gonna be like, oh, the Egyptian God cards, but God ain't in any of their names, is it? No, that's saved for the weird fucking rock. Sure. Shoutouts this week go to the LIFD Magnetic Display, the best way to support my channel currently, and the true duelist approved way to show off your favorite cards. Whether it's the Egyptian God cards of the anime or anything else, really. Just so long as you use my promo code and I get a little bit of cash from that transaction, because that's what I'm doing. I'm selling something. But I'm selling you a pretty damn good product, and one I'm quite happy to own, to be perfectly honest. So if you want to help me out, 15% off, YGO Strats 15, click the link in the description. And if you don't, thanks for watching anyways. As always, I've been your host, Gregory Feganite. Thank you for watching. Just covering some new cards in this one. The regular update will be out on Friday, and plenty more of these to come in the pipeline. So look at that, a guy's making videos, a YouTuber's making videos. Stop the fucking presses and stop what you're doing to hit subscribe. And then when you do, you'll impress your smoking Italian wife. You'll become a true duelist, and I'll make a video one day, and that's it. Okay, see ya. Age of Overlord is just a week away, and I've already fucked up.